What's going on, everyone? Scott here. Welcome back to the channel. So, just here to give a quick video on my Big Ten basketball preseason standing predictions and who I think will win the league, and also who do I think is going to be the player of the year in the Big Ten. Before we hop into that, if you could just hit that like and subscribe button down there for more college basketball content on the channel. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a video this season. So, put the graphic up on the screen here so you can see it. Got it 1 through 18, and I think the top 3 teams are pretty consensus of what the top of the conference looks like. And then I really think 4 through 16, 16, 15-ish is kind of just up for grabs. And I think, if you told me that Iowa, who I have at 13th right now, ended up in 6th place, I would be like, okay, yeah, okay. If you told me Rutgers, because they're super young, obviously have 2 talented lottery pick freshmen, if you told me they ended up in 11th place, would not be shocked at all. So let's just go through it. At 18 and 17, I have 18 Penn State, 17 Washington. I mean, that's just where I think those are the bottom 2 teams in the league right now, with Minnesota at 16, not far behind. 15, I got Northwestern, losing a lot with Boo Buie moving on, but still have some good pieces there, though. 14, I have Nebraska, obviously losing Tominaga. They were a top 4 seed in the Big Ten last year. I think they'll take a little bit of a step back this year. 13, I got Iowa. 12, Maryland. 11, Michigan. And 11, Michigan, yes, they're my rival, but I think Michigan, is probably, like I said, it's so hard from 4 through 16, really. But Michigan, I could see as high as 4 through 7. And if things don't go well, I can see them 12, 15, 16. I really don't know, but this is what I'm looking at. Really 11 Michigan, and at 10 I have Oregon. I really wouldn't mind switching those and bringing them up to like 6, 7, 7, 8, somewhere in there. It's so up in the air. At 9 I have USC. 8 I have Wisconsin. 7 Ohio State. I think they're a sleeper as well to get into that top 4. 6 Rutgers. Obviously the 2 talented lottery pick freshmen you have coming in. What does the supporting cast look like, and how do they fill in as well? I think will be a big key there. In 5 I have our Michigan State Spartans here. And this is very dependent on some of the stuff we've talked about in the Michigan State season preview. But it's the sophomore class taking a jump and someone emerging as the number 1 go-to option. That's where I have them at 5. In 4th, I have UCLA. 3, Illinois. They have lost pretty much their whole roster, but they have reloaded with a lot of good players from the transfer portal. And I think Brad Underwood is a really good coach. I think he'll have them still a top 4 seed at number 3 in the Big Ten. Next up, I have Indiana. And if you're watching this and you watch our whole college basketball season preview, you might be a little confused with the order of 2 and 1. At 2, I have Indiana. 1, I have Purdue. Let me explain. At 2, Indiana. I think Indiana has the best roster. And if you watch that video, I also picked them to win the Big Ten. But I said I didn't feel good about it. I have them at 2 right now. This is preseason because Purdue, they have the best player in the Big Ten in Braden Smith, one of the best players in the country, the best point guard in the Big Ten, one of the best point guards, players in the country, all that. They just came off a national title game appearance. Obviously, Zach Edey isn't there. They've lost some players, but I still think right now I got to have Purdue there at 1 to start the season because they do have that established group that just went to a national championship game. And they have the best player on the floor if they're playing any of these 18 teams. Now, more on that too. I think, as I said, I picked Indiana to win the conference because I think they have the best and most talented roster. I think by the end of the year, and let me tell you, a lot of this depends on, and this is why it was so hard. I said Big Ten was the toughest conference to pick a conference winner because so much of it depends on Mike Woodson. He's, not been great. He's been recruiting great, but the results haven't been there. So I am banking on this roster being so good, and Mike Woodson, I know betting on Mike Woodson seems kind of crazy right now, but I'm betting on him to get Indiana to where they need to by the end of the year to complement and, fully show out the talented and best roster in the Big Ten that they currently have right now. So that's that, 1 through 18, and then my Big Ten player of the year, shouldn't be any surprise, is Braden Smith. He's the best player in the conference right now. Is there some guys like Omar Balu from Indiana, one of the freshmen, Dylan Harper, Ace Bailey from Rutgers. There's some guys that can contend, but I think Braden Smith is just head and shoulders right now above the rest of the Big Ten players that would be in that conversation. So that'll do it for this one. We'll be back throughout the whole season with college basketball content, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a video. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.